Okay, now I'm going to try and adjust the audio on here so that things aren't quite as loud. I have to keep the microphone a little bit far away from my face to avoid popping, so hopefully I can get this adjusted right so that you can hear my voice. Anyway, we've just gone through character generation. I got a little Falinesti Wood Elf Barbarian who's setting off into Sedanin to find his fame and fortune. He's actually got not bad speed, as we discovered when we looked at his stats. So I'm able to get around a little bit quicker than some of the characters I've had in the past, which is kind of nice. First thing I'm going to do is head on over to the lighthouse, and I'm going to rip this lady off a bit. Now, you may have seen some of the atmosphere that was present in Sedanin as I ran through it. I am not using Morrowind graphics and sound overhaul, and I haven't really tweaked the graphics extender a lot. You've seen the graphics and sound overhaul in numerous other so-called modded playthroughs of Morrowind. And as far as I'm concerned, I consider that the eye candy in that is something that will wait till the end to be added on. I have a fair bit already as it is. Now you have to bear in mind this thing, as I say, is about 6 or 7 years old. And so this project is going to have a lot of old stuff in it. And Morrowind graphic sound overhaul is relatively new by comparison. That being said, there is some atmosphere, as you can see here. Advanced sound effects, I think another sound effects mod is in there. And we have additional trees and seasons is in here. And it's a little bit glitchy, but nevertheless it is in here. So I do have a few atmospheric enhancements, but mostly this project centers on gameplay. You'll see what I mean by that as it goes along. There's lots and lots to manage. Right now I'm just winning over this person who is an MCA companion, and if you apply them with enough food and drink without overdoing it, you get them to perhaps join you. And I did, and that might prove to be valuable as a life-saving measure as I go along here. She might help to defeat some creatures or something like that as I go out into the wilderness, which is about where I'm headed now anyway. But a little bit about the philosophy of this whole project. See, Morrowind Amalgamated has several goals in mind. Number one is to make, of course, obviously a more immersive Morrowind experience. It's intended to be a lot richer, so you see a lot more elements in it, a lot more gameplay in it. It's intended to be more interactive, as I say, with the fair bit of management involved in just about every aspect, sleeping, eating, weapons, that kind of thing. And grander, it's going to be much, much bigger than vanilla Morrowind. Those of you who are playing Tamriel Rebuilt will have an idea of more or less the kind of size we're talking about. This is somewhat comparable. I'll show you the map right now. World map here. Has quite a lot of land mass to it. And bear in mind, this just comes from 2 or 3 plugins. This is all combined into 2 or 3 plugins. Now, what's the whole point of all of this? Well, I, like many people, have been frustrated by load lists that have presented themselves with a lot of conflicts. They are hard to manage. In fact, what really got me started on this was when I exceeded the 400 plugin limit. I wanted to keep adding things to be able to play as far as mods, and I couldn't, because I ran out of, technically, ran right out of room to do it. So then I started getting the idea, well, let's combine things into fewer plugins, and that kept going and going and going. And so now I've got really 2 essentially big plugins and a couple of smaller ones, plus I've got a few, just a few that I'm testing. But as you can see, because this is an older project, you won't have some of the newer things like the Tamriel rebuild. I've only got map 1 of Tamriel rebuilt, and it's an old one of that. So that's unfortunate, and unfortunately I don't really know how much more Tamriel rebuilt I can get on here. If I move a landmass or 2, I could probably get on map 2, and that's about it. Unless I wanted to scrap this whole thing, but no thank you. I put enough time and effort into this as it is that it's going to continue on in this form for as long as it holds my interest. But we have quite a lot to keep us interested, nonetheless. I mean, there's the main island of Vardenfell, naturally, and Solstheim up here for Blood Moon. But we also have some other big guys here. This is Wizard's Islands up here, and then the counterpart to it down there. Silgrad Tower over here. On to Solstheim, we have White Wolf of Loken Mountain, and Into the Whispering Wood is up there as well. Up here is the Northlands from 5 Keys of Azura. Here's Korabal Island. Down here's Veldion. One of these is Dulcia Isle, one is Sea of Destiny. We've got Anastia, Rafer Sands, and over here, interestingly enough, this is a tribute to the community, an old amalgamation of its own, and sort of what kind of sparked my interest in this whole idea of doing amalgamation. And it's got a lot of fun little mods in it. Gribrash Island, Booty Island, Crooked Tower. It's got an old version of Cyrodiil, which I'm not too fond of, so I renamed it and turned it into a different city. And a couple of other fun things in there as well. Tower at New Evermore. Halden Shore is in there. So yeah, you can see there's a lot of stuff, and while anybody can just spend a couple of hours, and you can take all your mods and use the construction set and just combine them all together and make a big lump into 1 or 2 plugins or something like I've done. The real trick is to get everything to work in concert and harmony, and that is the big push of this project, is to not just shove everything together. I mean, you can simulate that just by running the mods separately, right? in a regular load list. But if you mash everything together, you have the opportunity to treat everything on a level playing field, and then you can start to really deal with how everything is going to work together, get rid of conflicts. For instance, all these land masses, right? I've had to move a few, but in doing so, I've opened up a lot of space in here, and there's room for more if I deemed I wanted to do something like that, or at the very least, land masses aren't overlapping each other. The same goes for anything else. Dialogue and scripts can be consolidated, and any other manner of thing that you care to imagine can run, much less worry of conflict, and with a much greater sense of balance. You know, all your leveled lists and everything can be combined. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even running a mashed merge at the end. I don't have to run that kind of a plug-in because everything is merged already. I may have to, you know, as I go along, I may discover that I have to absolutely run a merge list of some kind or another here and there, but right now I'm to the point where I don't really have anything more than main plug-in, clocking in at around 270 megabytes or so. The lesser plug-in, another, geez, I don't know how many it is, 30, 40 megabytes. One plug-in that combines some of the crafting type mods, most notably what I call crafting anyway, most notably Necessities of Morrowind, where you can cook your own food, and that Morrowind Crafting, where you cook your own food and do many other crafting projects as well, and Advanced Herbalism. Now, unfortunately, I haven't got permission to run, to even show you the crafting Amalgamated plugin in action. So you'll see a little bit in passing, perhaps. I'll maybe describe one or two things about it, but I can't actually show it to you in action. And hopefully I'm not transgressing on anybody else as far as permissions go, although I really think that most things have been tweaked very much in keeping with the spirit of the original mod's intentions, and I don't think I'll be stepping on anybody's toes, but do let me know if there's something that I shouldn't be doing in these videos besides the crafting. And then I've got Morrowind Enhanced and Morrowind Script Extender, a few mods for those bundled into one other plugin as well. And so I've got Advanced Combat, Advanced Thieving, I think, Spells Enhanced or something, I can't remember what that's called. Advanced Alchemy, and one or two others. And then one other plugin, a smaller one but a very important one. It's called MWAM Roleplay, and it influences a lot of how the roleplay unfolds in the game. It's got things like falling down, breath holding, miscast mod, many game setting changes. Advanced Combat is in there, and I'll show you those in action as we go along. This little character is just flying right along, and I forgot to get something at a Reels. I went back to a Reels specifically to get something. Do you think I remember to get it? Heck no. I'll have to get it on the return trip. Many of you seen this opening sequence many times, I would imagine. I've done it many times, so I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but as you can see, Advanced Herbalism causes plants to disappear as you pick, and you have to earn your picking skill as you go along. The more you pick, the more proficient you get at picking. Just like any other skilling. Also, I'm picking up from the organic weapons mod. You can go along and occasionally find a rock or something which indicates that it's got something in it, and maybe pull out some stones which you can use to throw at things. Cheap free weapons found in nature. So I'm just going to make the rounds out here. Here's one of those organic containers. This is a peeling tree, and from there I get a bark shield and 3 throwing sticks. I'm using all the official mods as well. I've got Bitter Coast Sounds. I've got Fort Firemoth. I'm not sure if I have the entertainers actually. I think I decided I wanted to really modify that quite a bit before I use it. I've got area effect arrows. Last character I brought through here found a wolf. That was exciting. Can't believe how fast this guy is. My gosh. Oh, there is a big rat this time. So really the way to advance in this advanced herbalism is just pick everything in sight. And I've extended it a little bit. I've kept it pretty true to its original form, but I've done a couple of tweaks on it. I've extended it to include a few other plants, such as the bloat. Oh, rat doesn't like me. Okay. I don't have anything to kill it with. I'm going to have to rely on my partner, who sucks with a bow and arrow. But fortunately, my endurance is very darn high, so that hardly tickled me at all. He's going to attack as well. I made the spawn times much greater for plants as well in advanced herbalism, which will encourage a person to go farther afield to do their picking. As a bit more of a challenge, and also as a bit of a convenience factor, because actually when you get very good at alchemy and picking, you need very little plant material. So it just keeps it out of the way that much longer. And I wasn't sure if I really wanted to use a mod that cause the plants to disappear. That seems kind of unrealistic, and ideally even now I would say I would like to design some models where the plant looks like it's picked but it's still left in the ground. I think they've got a couple of models of that with advanced herbalism, but it'd be nice if it could be done across the board. But I found that after having used it, I've gotten used to it. I can't live without it anymore. It's just too darn convenient to pick a plant and know where you've been because the plant disappears, you know, kind of thing. As opposed to the vanilla game where you pick a plant and it's still standing and you end up picking it 2 or 3 times. Now here's a Traveling Merchant. This is from Starfire's NPC's add-ons. Not much to sell here. I will sell that, and I actually keep the bark shield if I come in handy. But after having found the tax collector, I now have a little bit of gold. I'm going to start talking to people, see what they have to say. Murder of Processus Vitalis. Found his body, huh? Yep, doop, doop, I did. I'm not going to do anything about it right now. I'm just going to use his money because I'm out of it. This guy will tell us about Solstheim if I ask him nicely about that. If I talk to a commoner about latest rumors, I'll get some information about the Mariadaria, which is the starting point for Silgrand Tower. It's a nice dog. We've got the Wilderness mod running, which adds a lot of aminals. Got chickies there. We've got pigs in the mud bath behind us. Well ahead of us now. And a few birds and whatnot. But I also have Where Are All the Birds Going by Abbott, so we got more than enough birds and wildlife and water life going between those two mods. Back to a reel. Now I'll pick up some more useful scrolls. Like that one, and yeah, I think I'll grab a water skin too. And these two things. This is really what I was coming after before. That just about uses up all my money. Actually, I'll sell the rest at a local bookstore. I didn't notice. What do I have left? Yeah, 66. Okay.
Keep moving.
And that's about it. I don't think I have too much more. Although I could go back to Celis Gravius. I've done this before. Actually. And I'll talk to him about Firemoth.
Keep moving.
So that mod is put into motion. Also, I'm going to fill up my water bottle. Ahead of us is a merchant from Morrowind Crafting. Okay, now I bought two pieces of two guides out of reels, and one I meant to do these before when I was picking. I forgot. First one is Herbalist Almanac. This is part of Advanced Herbalism, and when you equip it, your herbalism skill goes up by 1, and you can see that the device has another use as well, which is to show you the moons and what's a good time to harvest and plant plants. This is a scab. I've contrived this. This is a mining guide. I'll flesh it out at some point in the future, but its main purpose is to do similar and simply to raise your mining skill by 1 point. Now, this character... Uh-oh. Oh, we've got action already. Somebody's got a stick. I don't have a hitting stick. I only have throwing sticks. is gonna, maybe a guard is gonna come to my rescue. Castle. Well, this is rather dire, isn't it? Getting beat up. Nobody's coming to my rescue. Those guards should be helping me out, but nobody is. Marianne is sitting there wasting arrows. And I sure hope I'm not going to have to use a scroll already. Well, what do we got here? Calm humanoid. I could perhaps use that. Beggar's nose. Detecting everything. No. I have got the scroll of vitality, but yeah, I'd just soon not use that if I don't have to. Why don't I at least try and block? I've got a fairly good blocking skill, don't I? Isn't this exciting? Well, this is from MCA, and I've dumbed it down a bit, like the original MCA mod. It would be just as easy that you would encounter a footpad or something who would almost certainly kill you right out of the gate. So I dumbed it down a little bit. This is a thug, and they're using a branch as a blunt weapon. Flee anytime. Good looking babe. But even though she's dumbed down a bit, she's still giving me a tough time. Okay, now we can do hand to hand. Guess I could leave the shield on. No. Change my mind. Okay, now a few things here, like, what really bugs me, this is supposed to be either A, the guards are supposed to come and smack down this lady, or I'm supposed to get fleeing fetchers. Figure these fleeing fetchers, and I don't know why that's not working right now, but right now I've got somebody waltzing in the middle of my fight, as per Morrowind usual. That drives me berserk. Where are you, Marianne? God. With friends like that, who needs dumb enemies? So she was hitting me with a stick. Why didn't I take out my knife and start slashing at her? Okay, this character is going to do a few role-playing things that will make life a little more difficult all around, at least to begin with. Number one, dead is dead. So I gotta try and keep from dying, because I really think that kind of silly to just keep resurrecting yourself over and over and over again. It's not much of a challenge in my books. Each to their own, of course. Number two, I'm not stealing a whole heck of a lot. Again, at least initially, it's not going to be a big thieving fest out of people's houses. I'm going to try and leave the personal belongings alone that are in people's houses and whatnot. There are other legitimate ways to make money in this game, and I'll try and use those wherever I can. Number three, other than those couple of parchments that I bought and the one book in the lighthouse, I'm going to use very little in the way of training or skill books, if I can help it. And I'm just going to advance on my own metal. Here we are, eroded rocks from organic weapons. Number four, I haven't got a mod for this yet, and it's going to be pretty hard to implement, I think, but this particular point I'm going to role play it such that I need to match weapon for weapon. So she was hitting me with a blunt one-handed blunt, which is a stick, and in order to counteract her appropriately, I would have to be carrying a one-handed blunt weapon as well. I was not, so I just had to sit there and endure it until such time as I could retaliate in kind. And when her stick was worn out, she started punching me, then I could punch her back. Okay. Yeah, that's what it works. And one other thing, a major thing, is that I can't just drop stuff on the ground. That's always bugged me from the first day I started playing this game. You could put stuff on the ground, come back a month later, it would still be there, nobody would have picked it up. So I can't drop stuff on the ground. I have to put it in containers, with a few exceptions, like alchemy equipment. Okay, so that was the start of the Five Toes Guild quest mod, which is a pretty good mod. Pretty good quest. I don't know that I've done it all the way through to completion, but I've gone quite far along and I've quite enjoyed it. So I'm now a member of the Five Toes Guild, and my herbalism skill went up. Now it's 7. A little bit nervous because I'm half dead, so hopefully no real deadly animal comes along or something, because it could be in big trouble. One thing I've got really is that scroll of vitality. The weapons. Okay. Just gathering a few things here and there. Including this shack. Somebody added this shack as a little bit of an add-on. It's fine. I don't think it's really too cheaty or anything. Since there are no places to stay in Saint Denis that I know of. Without breaking into somebody's place, that is. this will have to do. If you do need a place to stay. Which I don't right now. And in fact, I'm going to run back. My gosh, this guy can go. Mostly to do with athletics, I think. Which is very high. 35. Well, pretty high.